Hello. So, hello? Is this thing on? I'm seeking to reach the ashamed today.
Make those moves. I'm feeling it, no stopping it. I can't lose. When I'm dealing it, I'm dropping it. I'm the realest, no doubt in it. I'm about the biz, best count on it.
I took a poll on Instagram and asked folks, what y'all want to hear from me, right? The intention of these conversations is to use my life and my experience as just human, someone whose radical and transformative power is vulnerability. I think that vulnerability comes with ease for me. I can very easily emotionally and emote and connect with folks. And I'm super transparent. I recently lost a job and I made a social media post about being unemployed. And one of my friends was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you posted about being unemployed." But from that post, I got 2 consulting gigs. So being open and honest about what you need, what you're going through, often opens different doors. I don't view vulnerability as a weakness. It's not something that is that I'm trying to do to be attention seeking. I'm using vulnerability to normalize our humanity. I identify as just human. Like literally, I'm going through the human shit every fucking day. Whether it be my brain is on a chokehold from debilitating depression, or I am being redirected in my life through job loss, right? I'm going through human shit. And I want to be able to use my platform to normalize that for other folks so that they never feel alone, so that they have a big sis or a role model that's inspiring them to move through it, and to connect with folks who are also struggling. I want to connect with people on real, meaningful levels. I don't want superficial anymore. It's not something that sustains me. So that's what I'm about. And that's why I'm here. And so I took a poll on my Instagram, and I asked folks, what would you want me to talk about right now? Would you want me to talk about rape culture? Because, we in, uh, we in a cycle right now. Or would you want me to talk about releasing shame? Because that's something that I'm in a cycle right now about. And I asked, someone had recommended that I retell fables and fairy tales from a divine feminine perspective, and I want to redo the Three Little Pigs, and I started working on that. So there was an overwhelming number of voters who voted for releasing shame. So we'll start there today. We'll talk about shame. And if you don't know, I am Jess, and I wrote a self-help memoir called Sis Your Copper. And what this uh, tool is for, because this is a tool, it's one resource in your toolkit, is for folks who struggle with mental illness and also might be living in marginalized bodies. And it helps to normalize that experience and provide some coping strategies and self-care practices, so that you can thrive in this world that wasn't designed for you. Um, I am using, like I said, using my experience to normalize the experience of us all, and to help us better self-regulate. So I'll start with an excerpt from my book because it kind of speaks to one aspect of shame in my life, and that is around my body. So the book goes through 5 different elements, and it's interesting because the 5 elements also are in Native American medicine wheels and in the elements of the world. Like they relate. I'm going to do a whole episode around how these elements show up in all of these um, different ways of managing balance and how they're so aligned. It's really great to like, oh my gosh, my like intuitive work aligns with age on traditions. So each element is a different element, but this is the element of physical wellness. And each chapter opens with a shit show. So it's kind of like, damn, that's that fuck shit that you're dealing with in your life. Um, and it also has a mantra because there are things that I told you I want you to have different coping strategies and coping mechanisms to get through it. So the mantra for the element of physical wellness is to take care of your body because it's the only one you got. And it opens with a quote from Rashida Kambe Miller, which is, "We are all searching for some level of security and assurance that our existence matters in the bodies that we live in right now." So the shit show. Ugly body bitch. Those were the three words that landed on my backside, making the hair stand up on my neck. When I turned to write something on the chalkboard, the rest of the class snickered. I was teaching 12th grade English at Cleveland NJROTC High School in St. Louis, Missouri. We were at the beginning of an African American literature lesson. I was challenging one student to complete a bell ringer exercise, also known as a class opener, and he was having a difficult time. Because of his own difficulty, he wanted to leave and go to the restroom. I didn't allow it. He had just come into my class. The restroom wasn't a biological urgency at that point. It was an act of escapism. His way of coping with the boundary I placed to this was to publicly and verbally attack me and shame me in front of the other students, projecting his shame my way. And it worked. It hit me where it has always hurt, degrading me for my weight. I struggled to know what to do in this moment. I knew my kids projected their I knew my kids projected their shit onto me all the time because it came with the territory. I also knew how mean kids could be. Truthfully, I wasn't that far removed from my own childhood trauma, and witnessing as a teacher how high school students behaved towards each other was painful. High school students were challenging, and winning them over was even more so. But I also knew I couldn't let them walk all over me. In that moment, though my eyes burned, ready to unleash the tears, I knew I couldn't react angrily or otherwise. The rest of the class was watching us. I had to double down on my composure so that this one moment didn't end up controlling the rest of the period or eternity. So I did what I've always done. I ignored it and pretended it didn't affect me and went on about my business. So I often say that one of the most socially acceptable forms of bullying and torture in our